I had like a memory download because I was reading something and it was about this program.
My life actually kind of got worse from that point on.
And being told we would forget what we were seeing. A part of my mind was rebelling, but there was also this sleepy overlay.
I just want to know why psychological tests were done on me when I was a child.
And then even furthermore, on Amazon. They're selling this on Amazon, guys. School. Recently on TikTok, I've been getting a ton of tinfoil conspiracy theory type accounts of people talking about the g.a.t.e program, which, if you're not familiar, stands for the Gifted and Talented Education Program or something like that. I don't even know. But it's something along these lines of like, it was an extracurricular class for people who were, you know, just gifted and talented, apparently. There's also some other names for it, such as Think, and there's a few others floating around. But there are some weird circumstances around this program. As I've been scrubbing through the TikToks and the Reddit threads, I've come to find out a few major points that are a little strange. Everybody seems to remember some sort of frequency testing where people would wear headphones and listen to frequencies. People would also remember pink tablets and fluid being drank and given and administered to the children for some reason. A lot of pink beams going throughout. And another weird key element is that most of the people who attended these classes had no recollection of them at all until their memory was reawoken due to seeing a TikTok or reading a Reddit thread. It's making people get a little hysteric once they realize that they barely remember this aspect of their life, whereas they remember most of their other schooling. So welcome to Peablar TV 2. I'm your boy Peablar. Let's jump right in. So I want to start it off with this TikTok of this woman explaining her experience of the g.a.t.e program. Now, it seems like it was very popular from the mid to late 80s all the way to the mid to early 2000s. And I have a few theories of my own. It seems like the kids who attended this class in the 90s have virtually no recollection. It seems like the kids who have attended it in the 80s do kind of remember a little more. They're able to give a little bit more detail pertaining to the circumstances. And I don't know if that's true or not. It's just what I've observed based on these accounts that I've been watching. But with that being said, maybe the technology wasn't there yet and they weren't able to make these kids forget these memories. But let's just jump right in and see what this is all about.
Okay, so I have a question for all of you 90s kids that went to elementary school and were a part of the Gifted and Talented program. What do you remember of that program? I remember doing different testing on ink block cards that consisted of basically like ink splatter on a card, and they would ask you, what does this look like? Or what does that look like? I remember doing testing on different frequency sounds, on different series of numbers, sounds that kind of sounded like the Morse code now that I'm older, because I can still remember those sounds inside my head, oddly enough.
Just to pause, because she doesn't even mention this, it says, what I started to remember: frequency sounds, number sequencing, color and shape diagrams, ink block cards, weird juice, that's that pink juice I was talking about, dark rooms with no windows, different questions related to all sorts of topics like dreams, internal thoughts and feelings, and much more.
I had like a memory download because I was reading something and it was about this program, and I wasn't searching for it. I literally, like, it just stumbled upon me, right? And as I was reading it, all these memories just started flooding back. So I started to do more research, and a lot of these children that were also a part of this Gifted and Talented program, they don't remember a lot of it either until someone reminds them and those memories start coming back. So we did all sorts of different testing. I remember us having to drink a certain juice, and it was really weird. I remember like thinking retrospect, like, that's weird. So yeah, I just wanted to know if y'all were a part of this, because not a lot of many kids were. From my research so far, there was probably about 10 to 20 children per school that were a part of this program, and each testing, or the testings that were done, was individualized on each child. So yeah, it's called the g.a.t.e program, g.a.t.e program. And yeah, I'm just searching for more information or others who were a part of this program and what their experience was, because I just want to know why psychological tests were done on me when I was a child.
So there you have it. That is the g.a.t.e program in a nutshell. And you know, if you're a little skeptical, you may be saying, that's not really anything crazy. They're just doing some crazy tests on the kids, trying to find the geniuses maybe, or something along those lines. But the real question lies where there's lack of information of this ever even occurring. This all is just hearsay based on the students remembering and other people remembering based off of those accounts. You would think that there would definitely be some sort of like, you know, disclosed information that could be found online, some sort of curriculum maybe, or, you know, paperwork regarding this program, but there is nothing. I have been scrubbing through the internet through years of websites and data and stuff, and there's absolutely nothing regarding this situation. So what is with all of the secrecy? And then with the secrecy, you add on top, you know, closing up windows in these classrooms and having the kids be individually tested upon. It's a very weird situation. And speaking of them withholding information, the original TikTok that I wanted to watch that explained this whole situation was taken down. It's a little weird. I wonder why. I don't think that there was any background music on it, so it couldn't have been for that purpose. Are they trying to suppress this information? They could be trying. They definitely could be, but like I said earlier, I feel like the kids who went and attended this program in the 80s have a better grasp of, you know, holding on to the memories. So let's hear from one of those kids and see what it's all about.
Hey y'all, here's another one that might tie in with the g.a.t.e program. I remember this vividly. And I want to share with you two experiences. One involves this hearing test, and then another involves textbooks. So I remember that they would take us out of class, and now that I think about it, it was more frequently, maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
2 or 3 times a year? That's not frequent at all, honestly. I thought it was going to be like a once a week type deal. But like I said, I feel like they were figuring things out at this early beginning stage.
They would have us listen to these headphones that were plugged into a suitcase. Now you have to remember, this was the late 80s and early 90s. We didn't have personal computers in the way that we have them today, and very efficient in small things. So it was a suitcase with some kind of a computer in it, and these headphones plugged into it. And what we had to do was, they would tell us to listen for the tone on the left or the right side and raise your hand corresponding to the side which the tone played on. Raise your hand when you hear it, and then lower your hand when it stops. Both sides. So you have to understand that you are working on both sides. You may hear one tone on one side, and then a few seconds later, another tone on the other side. So it was like your hands were up and down. I couldn't imagine what it looked like if somebody was watching you and not hearing the tones. So that was the tone test.
So that's the tone test, like he just said, and it kind of sets a really creepy like setting for this classroom. Just imagine the windows are closed. There's children sitting down. They're all drinking this fluid potentially before class. Then they're all sitting with headphones in, and they're just raising their hands, listening to auditory frequencies and tones. Like, I feel like it's a scene straight out of freaking Stranger Things, dude. Like they're testing on these children as if they're all 11, bro. What is going on here? Let's hear what he has to say about these textbooks, though.
Now, the textbook thing was weird because I had a flashback after reading some comments, and it might not have anything to do with it, but I do remember they said at my elementary school that they were retiring some old textbooks. There were English, math, and social studies, and they had what appeared to be most of the kids, but I think today that it was only a portion of them were allowed to take one of the old books home. And what I think there is, that might have been their idea of whatever one you picked had to do with what you were most interested in. But let me know what y'all think. think about it.
So the textbook thing, it's not really super concrete, but it does go hand in hand with the theory. So, you have this program for gifted and talented students, and only a handful is selected out of each school district, seemingly. So, to think that they give them the opportunity to pick the field that they want to enter wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibility. It seems like they're trying to hone in these talented and gifted students and raise them up through some unconventional means, all being said.
Quite a few people have been talking about this recently, but many of us may have been experimented on at a young age without ever knowing. This was around the early 2000s, where many people specifically remember being a part of a program called g.a.t.e, which stands for Gifted and Talented Education. And according to people who were a part of this program, they were separated from their main class, taken to a windowless or dim-lit room, and made to do different tasks like solving puzzles and hearing different frequencies through headphones. Now, there's a couple reasons why people are suspicious of this program in the first place. For starters, although the class was meant to be for students who were above average academically, most of the people who were actually in the program recall only having average grades compared to some of their peers who were not involved in the program. On top of that, while much of the curriculum was just normal puzzles, many people recall being asked to do seemingly impossible tasks like guessing numbers, shapes, or objects that were covered up or just out of view. This led to a lot of speculation about the classes, with many people believing that the program was created by a government agency in order to find children with supernatural-like abilities. Some people went even further, stating that they may have been looking for people with supernatural abilities in order to shut them down to prevent future threats, or that they were trying to recruit them, do more tests on them, and see how they can use that power for themselves.
So with that context, the facade kind of does fall apart, that this is an innocent program just trying to get gifted and talented students to rise up. Especially when he mentions that a lot of the students who did attend this remember having, non-exceptional grades. Their grades were relatively average. So he poses the theory that maybe that they were looking for children who had special abilities and not just standard, normal, book smarts, to say the least. And it also dovetails into another theory that a lot of the students who attended this program have concluded together. A lot of the students who attended this actually wound up being either on the spectrum or diagnosed with ADHD, and they're wondering if there's a correlation with that somehow.
So I am now going down the rabbit hole of the g.a.t.e program, and yours truly, Thor right here, was in the g.a.t.e program from what I can remember, 1991 and 1994. It was 4th through 6th grade. I have no recollection of how I was placed in this program. I do remember having some sort of tests with earphones like people are reporting, with various tones and things like that. And I do notice that the memories around this time frame tend to be very sparse. So they're very sparse memories. And I do remember that sometime after this g.a.t.e program experience, like when I went to middle school and high school, I do remember that there was a big change in my life. My life actually kind of got worse from that point on. Now, there's a lot of different conspiracy theories going on about what happened with the g.a.t.e program. Some people think it's 3-letter agencies that were involved. Some other people think, and it goes down a deeper rabbit hole, this concept of the MyLabs. These people that are associated with things like alien abduction and different things like that, etheric implants, those kind of things, implanting sessions that may have happened during that time. I do know that, I do believe at least self-diagnosed neurodivergent. I've always been a little bit different than the people around me. But I am going down this rabbit hole. I couldn't believe when I saw the video just happened to pop on my feed, just how crazy all this stuff is. And just, it almost was a confirmation of like all these people having this similar experience. A lot of us are neurodivergent. So now we come to ask the question, were we neurodivergent before this? Or was there something that happened afterward that caused us to be different through various, etheric implant sessions or different things, or MyLab kind of things? It goes down some deep rabbit holes that people may not want to go down. There's also another theory around this time, and this comes from the Portal blog, which talks about the 1996 Archon invasion, if you get into some of the more esoteric type of things. But it's definitely a topic that I'm really getting into right now, and it's actually kind of crazy.
Okay, so he's saying maybe it's an implanted situation, alien abduction, they're putting implants in children. That sounds kind of crazy. I mean, I don't know, I don't want to call the guy crazy, but I don't know, that seems like really far out there, but you never know, it could be the reality of the situation. So a lot of these posts on TikTok have been circulating relatively recently, but this has been a topic of discussion on the internet for quite a while on websites such as Reddit. So let's hop over there and see what they're talking about. This user Balthazar made this post saying, anyone ever in the GATE program as a kid at school? I know it's been asked here before, but people come and go, and I want to see if anything has changed. Feel free to share weird experiences if you had any, if you were chosen for the program. And out of almost 1,000 votes, it seems like a quarter of them said yes, they attended. 80 people said no, and I'm taking that as in they knew of the program, but they did not attend it. 35 people said that they don't really remember it, and the remainder said, what is GATE? Like they have no idea. So let's see what the comments are down here. What was up with those pink chewable tablets that they said were to detect plaque and cavities? That's what I want to know. You just unlocked a memory. Go on. They're dental disclosing tablets made of vegetable dye or something that sticks to plaque, lol. And like, yeah, dude, I know. I remember there was like a dude on TikTok a while ago who tested out toothbrushes, and I know exactly what they're talking about. His were kind of purple, but the question still remains, why are they checking for cavities on these children in this gifted and talented program? It seems a little odd, to say the least. And this guy says it right here. I know that, but why did this happen once or twice and never again? And why was the school doing this instead of a mandatory doctor visit as a kid? Or why not the dentist? Yeah. True. Puzzled Head Star said, I remember those hearing tests, flashcards, and a ton of tests, and tons of tests. The projectors, though, I don't remember what we were watching on them. One day there was this room I was brought in while blindfolded. It had double pane glass in front of me. I couldn't see who was behind it observing. This woman sat in a chair and removed the blindfold and told me not to look behind me and don't play with the toys, and then left the room. She came back with a clipboard and wrote down a bunch of stuff and then took me out of the room. I don't remember how I got there or anything after I left the room. I probably wasn't supposed to remember that, but I was just sitting there after my mom passed away thinking about things from my childhood and memories we had together, and it came back to me. Completely forgot about the tone test until you said something. So very weird. Why was he blindfolded? Why couldn't he know where he was? What was up with his glass? What was written on the clipboard? I remember being in it and which of my other students were in there and the area of the school where we had to go, but I remember literally nothing of the lessons. It's strange, like totally blank, no idea what we did. This person here says, I was in TAG, talented and gifted, growing up throughout the 80s. Honestly, thanks to reading discussions here, the whole thing now weirds me out, precisely because I do not have concrete memory of what we did. I'm on the spectrum and have focused vivid memories starting at age 2 to 3. I can tell you how long and specific memories from every other additional class or obligations I had throughout elementary school. Speech therapy in early grades, chorus and band in later grades, but tag, nada. I do remember the sound tests others have mentioned here, listening to tones, but I don't even correlate that with tag, except that we were sound testing in school libraries and tag lessons were in the library.
At this point, my camera actually died and I lost this thread, but I do want to read it to you guys. He says, okay, one more impression of a memory was in 1986 to 87, sitting watching a projector screen film in elementary school library, open window to my right, and being told we would forget what we were seeing. A part of my mind was rebelling, but there was also this sleepy overlay. Yes, creepy, but I do have a stellar imagination and extremely realistic dreams sometimes, so I'm not wedded to the belief that this actually happened. Maybe ring a bell for anyone else though?
I recall some excerpts of GATE. My friend was in it and I wanted to be as well. I think I asked one of my teachers, and that very week I was pulled out of the class to be evaluated by some woman I had never met before. I was given a series of questions and shown colored pictures and asked to find something out of the ordinary. One picture showed a girl in pink pajamas brushing her teeth in the mirror. Pink pajamas, teeth. It's a little weird. I just want to say, it's a little strange. Anyway, in the mirror, what I immediately noticed was that her name stitched on her pajamas did not read backwards in the mirror. Anyways, I got accepted. I think we left left every Tuesday or Thursday morning for a half day on the bus to an off-site location in my town. We watched documentary videos, one of which I recall was an entomology documentary, did some hands-on training like catching bugs in the woods, and we took tests on computers. It was more fun than anything else, but oddly, I don't remember much else. The windows were also covered up. I remember that. We had one female teacher who was quite outgoing. She had a golden retriever who'd come to play with us occasionally. Otherwise, what I did learn there was very vague. Eventually, I transferred schools or something as my parents moved homes. So these are the accounts, and it's a little strange to say the least. The fact that nobody really has much memory of it. I mean, you know, you could be skeptical. I totally would understand that. It could just be kids, you know, doing some sort of standardized testing, IQ tests and things along those lines, and being like, hey, it was a little weird. I don't know what I was looking at. I don't know what the testing was really for. But there are still some weird outliners, such as the windows being covered up, or kids being blindfolded, or given, you know, or given pink fluids or tablets. So what could this program really be about? Is it just some sort of skewed memory of all of these children, or was there actually something more nefarious happening? Are they trying to unlock some sort of special talent that they presumably thought these children may have had? So as I was doing a little research, I found this interesting CIA document, and I want to pose the theory that maybe the g.a.t.e program is sort of shoehorning these children into a greater project, a program called the Gateway program. Right here from the Monroe Institute of Applied Science, we have the Gateway program, which started super early. Who are we? In 1958, Robert Monroe, a New York broadcasting executive, began having experiences that drastically altered his life. Unpredictably and without willing it, Monroe found himself leaving his physical body to travel via a second body to locales far removed from the physical and spiritual realities of his life. So this program pretty much is about like entering this meditative state and transcending out of your body, essentially astral projecting. And there are a lot of common themes in here. How it works. In appearance, the Gateway program presents a puzzling facade. A group of 20 people stand around talking, stretching, and they all enter a large room. They lie down on individual mattresses, pull blankets over them, put on padded stereo headphones, and become motionless. The room darkens. For the first 5 minutes, slight coughs and rustling can be heard. For the next 40 minutes, there is not a sound or movement, save an occasional snore. Then, all of a sudden, at the same time, everyone sits up and looks around. Soon they resume their talking, stretching, and running around. This happens several times during the day, evening, and sometimes at 3 in the morning. Retreat center personnel often ask, what is going on here? These individuals are practicing and participating in progressive series of frequency following response recordings. The major component of these recordings is a series of non-verbal audio patterns, most of them masked by a pink sound, similar to waves rolling along a beach or wind slipping through the trees. There may be several patterns going at once or only one. The pattern may be changing slowly or rapidly. They may be complex waveforms beating against each other, or a simple wave in only one ear. For the brain and mind are complex, and it appears that they must be coaxed into a certain formation by an orchestration of complex audio patterns rather than by a static mix of audio frequencies. It is indeed an art, and by drawing from much practice and from hints we receive, we have approached it from an artist's or creative engineer's view. Whatever works, we use and attempt to approve. So this sounds very familiar to these accounts that all of these students are talking about. Now, like I said, this is back in 1950. I feel like they were really forming this process and figuring it out. Into the early 80s, they were still figuring it out. By the 90s, they kind of had it down to a science, and then into the early 2000s. And then by then, I think they phased the program out. I'm not sure if the g.a.t.e program is happening nowadays. I don't think so. But there's a lot of similar themes. So the people enter a room and they go under blankets, the room gets dark. A lot of these accounts, they cover up the windows to darken the room. They wear headphones and listen to auditory frequencies and patterns, and then they do things based on that. Same thing here. They're wearing headphones, listening to patterns. So there's a lot of weird correlations. The pink noise thing, pink noise, and then they're giving them pink tablets. It's just weird, the pink themes. I don't understand what's going on with that, but I do want to make a point that there is a pink theme. And I don't know how it's correlated into all of this. And it also says that they're approaching it from an artist's standpoint. And, you know, you can make the argument that a lot of people on the spectrum and even ADHDers and stuff, they have a creative bent to them, I think. I feel like that's a thing. Is it not? Let's look this up. It shows that individually neurodivergent people may be more creative in how they complete tasks. There you go. There you have it. Okay, I'm not pulling shit out of my ass. But there's a lot of weird correlations here with this. It talks about getting into a deep relaxation state, and individual testing. And then even furthermore into my research into this, I found out that the Monroe Institute is still offering this program as an 8-week course. Enter the gateway of higher consciousness, an 8-week online course to explore beyond the physical realm. It's $1,100 for 8 weeks. You have to give an application and they do various things. An 8-week self-guided online course takes you from the physical walking state through deep relaxation and ultimately into unexplored dimensions of your consciousness. Discover how to perceive and control your non-physical energy. And then even furthermore, on Amazon. They're selling this on Amazon, guys. You can buy VHS sets of the Gateway Experience right on here. They're not selling it anymore. It's seemingly, no, they are selling it. You can buy it new. It's $400, bro. Oh my God. And it's an audio CD. So you can get this, the Gateway Experience Waves 1 through 6. Or you could just get this little book here, a hardcover book of CIA Declassified, the Gateway Experience, Brain Hemisphere Synchronization and Perspective, with introduction by editors. So I think that these may be correlated. They may have been trying to administer this CIA Institute of Monroe Science out-of-body experience bullshit on these children. That's pretty much it for the video. There's not really any concrete evidence of this program ever existing. So this is the conclusion that I have reached. Comment down below what you think. Do you think that these programs could potentially be correlated? Do you think that it's just a bunch of kids who are misremembering their earlier years and they're like, oh, it's a little creepy now because I don't really remember much? Or do you think that there's something more nefarious going on? And comment down below if you remember being in this. Maybe this video will reawaken your memories of this situation. Comment down below, let's start a discussion, let's all talk about this. Let's figure out this GATE program or this Gateway program, if they're both one and the same, guys. But that's gonna pretty much do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, I post 3 times a week, weird deep dives into theories, sometimes expose videos, wacky internet stories. It's all happening here on Peablar TV too. So make it a part of your weekly schedule. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell, and join the Peablar Nation. I am your boy Peablar. It's been real, guys, and until next time, be well and peace.